On example number 1, Kylie, let's read.
Find the area and perimeter of the given figure.
So let's go ahead and start with the area first. And if you were to look at the formula chart, or maybe you memorized it, we know the base and the height are what to each other? They are perpendicular to each other. And then I know the formula for the area is base times height. And our base and the height, it looks like our base is given to us, right? 12. So let's plug in 12 is given. To find the height, what do we need to actually do? Can we do Pythagorean theorem if I don't know anything about this side right here? No. But we can though. Can we go ahead and call that x and x? Yeah? So we can use Pythagorean theorem or the special right 1 root 2. Which one do you guys prefer? 1 root 2? All right. So then let's go ahead and write the following. We have h over 8. And h is opposite of 45. What number was opposite of 45 on the special right? The 1. What was on the opposite of the right angle? Root 2. So that's going to give us, when I cross multiply, h root 2 is equal to 8. So when I divide it by root 2, we get h is equal to 8 over root 2. Now, are we okay with the radical in the denominator?
No.
No. So what was that phrase? We need to multiply the top and the bottom. What was that phrase called? Rationalizing. So we get 8 root 2. The bottom 2 pops out. And look at your whole numbers. Can I further simplify this?
Yes.
Yes, I can. So our height alone is 4 radical 2. So let's plug that in. And on our quiz and test, we're going to leave it in terms of radical, okay? So leave the radical 2 as it is, but let's multiply the whole numbers. So 12 and 4, when I multiply them, it's how many?
48.
48 root 2, and our units here is going to be centimeters squared. That was just the area. Don't we have all the information for the perimeter, though? We have 2 sides that are congruent, and then the other 2 that are congruent. So when I add all of them, what would that give us for the perimeter? 40 centimeters. That's almost like a freebie. All right, now let's go on to number 2. So we're looking for the area and the perimeter on this one as well. What do I need to find for the area piece? The base. Or base and the height, right? So let's call it x and y. Any variable works. So for this one, we have to use special right because there's 2 that's missing, okay? So let's start with the first one. Let's say we have x over 12. And should I write out the ratios on the side? Okay, let's do that. On the side, let's write out 30, 60, 90. And it was 1 root what? 3 and 2. So x is opposite of 30, so we know opposite of 30 is 1. 12 is opposite of 90, so we need 2. So when I cross multiply, we have 2x is 12. X must be how many? 6. So x is equal to 6. Now I'm going to show you a trick on the next one. All right? So I want you to write out something in a different form. Let's write out 1 root 3, and 2. Is it okay to write out the understood 1 in front of the radical? Does that change the value? It does not. So watch the way I write the next piece. 12, 6, 6 root 3. Do they match? So I know this bottom one is 6 root 3. Let's say you're like, well, I'm not going to remember this. You can set up your proportion. We'll still get the same answer. Is everybody okay with that? So if you see a pattern, use it. If you don't, take it traditionally. So then let's go ahead and find the area. The area formula is base times height divided by what? 2. So we have our base, 6 root 3. The height, 6, divided by 2. Oh, y'all can't see it. And what is 6 times 6? 36 divided by 2? 18 root 3. Yep, 18 root 3. What's our units for this one?
Feet squared.
Feet squared. And to find the perimeter, be really careful on this one, because on your quiz and test, some of you guys are going to combine everything just because it makes sense in our head, but it's really not. So let's write out 6 plus 6 root 3 plus 12. Only the whole numbers without the radical can be combined. So what is 6 plus 12? And I wrote area should be perimeter. 18. And then the 6 root 3 does not have, it's got another kind right next to it, so you have to leave that alone. And I forgot my units, feet. Okay, so when your answer turns out to be pretty clean like this on your assessment, leave it. Don't change it. All right? So here's where some of you guys are going to mess up. You're going to find this, and then you're probably going to go on further and say 24 radical 3. Please don't. Okay? So let's go on to number 3. On number 3, we're looking for the area. What piece are we missing? So just the figure alone, I want you to highlight the figure. Because I know the dotted line is to show you the perpendicular part of the base and the height, but it's not the actual figure as a whole. So this right here is our base. And then this right here is our height. So we have the area is equal to, we know it's base times height divided by 2. We know our base, so let's fill it in. We do not know the height, and we know it's divided by 2. So what can I do to find the height just by looking at the dotted image of the right triangle?
What's one of the Pythagorean triples?
Tell me, which one is it?
12 and 13.
5, 12, and 13, so the h is 12. Let's say you forget the Pythagorean triple. Can I use Pythagorean theorem? Yes, you can. But if you have the shortcut, use it. And let's say I want to go ahead and simplify as I go. 6 over 2 is 3. 3 times 12 is how many? 36 centimeters squared. Yes, you can multiply them all the way through and divide it by 2, but I think smaller numbers are easier to divide by and multiply by. Okay, any questions on number 3? Okay, on number 4. 4 is basically another parallelogram like the example number 1, so let's skip. That's redundant. Let's go on to number 5. What shape is number 5? Trapezoid. And we know in a trapezoid, we know our bases are parallel to each other. So let's go to our formula chart and box the trapezoid formula. Where's my trapezoid? And I want you to write it in this form. This would be a good one to use. So another way we can write out the trapezoid formula is by all over 2. So write that piece out as well on the side. And I personally like this format better. But that's just me. Are we all set? So let's go ahead and apply that. So on this, let's start with the formula. The area formula for the trapezoid is the height times base 1 plus base 2, all divided by 2. And the bases are parallel to each other. So let's highlight the parallel parts. These two parts are the bases. So when I plug it in, we get area is equal to, what is a height that is connecting the bases? 20. Then I have 5 plus 15 divided by 2. To make our life easy, can I go ahead and simplify 20 over 2? And isn't that basically 10 times 20?
Yeah.
How many is 10 times 20? 200. So hopefully you're not relying on a calculator for problems like these. All right, the next one, number 6. Edwin, let's read.
Find the width of rectangle AB. If it has an area of 54 square meters, what is the perimeter of the rectangle?
So we have to use this area information, step 1, to figure out what is my x value. And once I figure that out, I can then plug in the x value into our length and find the perimeter. So our step 1 is going to be the area of a square or rectangle. What do you guys know about it? It is perpendicular. Could I say base times height? Could I use length times width? Does it matter which one you use? Since we haven't used length times width, let's go ahead and do that just for fun. The area is given to be 54. And these two are my length and width, so I need to go ahead and multiply them. And that becomes an Algebra 1 concept. So when I divide it by 9 on both sides, what do I get on the left? 6. And then when I subtract 2 on both sides, my x must be 4. So really in the end, BC is how many? 6. So to find the perimeter, we have 2 of the 9s, 2 of the 6s. How many is my perimeter then? 30. Now for this problem, we can't really write out the units, right? There's no specific units. That's when you just simply write out U. And look what I did, double P. Don't know what happened. All right. Let's go on to number 8 first and then go to number 7. Okay, on number 8, how many circles do we see? 2. So if I ask you to find the area of that piece that's shaded, what operations do I need to do in the end?
You need to subtract the small one
From the big one. So we know, let's go ahead and draw this kind of exaggerated. From the big circle, the radius is how many? 5. Minus, from the small circle, the radius is how many? The small one has a radius of 3. So it looks like we have to find the area of both and subtract. So we have pi r squared on both. Should we go ahead and box up pi r squared on our formula chart? Possibly. Right here, pi r squared. Go ahead and box it. So we have pi 5 squared. That's going to give us 25 pi. On the next one, we have pi 3 squared, which is 9 pi. Because they both have pi's, can I subtract the coefficient? So 25 pi minus 9 pi is 16 pi, and our units are inches squared. Okay, any questions on that one? Bless you. Okay, let's try number 7 with a neighbor, and I'll go over it fully. Talk to your neighbor.
Alright, so
I don't think she's gonna make it today.
I don't think area is
Okay.
so basically
Mm-hmm.
okay, I already saw number 7.
Mm-hmm.
But
But
if you have
I got it.
like 2 pi and then a
So you
number
know how it's pi
x,
r squared,
can you
right?
multiply 2 and the
So
number
if we
x?
cut out pi,
I can't picture what you're telling me.
I'm just gonna turn
Okay,
it
so
around.
for the circumference, I got
So
2
if we
pi
cut out pi,
25.
Yes, we can multiply the whole numbers. Yes.
then we get r squared. And if we square root it, right? We get 5x equals 4 plus or minus. But this is a circle.
For the 5, right? The answer was 25 pi, right?
I'm not crazy.
But if it was 5x, then the answer would be
Alright, so now that we know that r is that, I just want to say pi times r. That makes sense, right?
Why did
This part way,
Hmm.
and then it's
I see theirs?
Hmm.
No,
You're gonna have to explain.
25.
You good? Feel pretty confident? You're like, no.
Super confident.
Okay. I'll still go over it.
Got it.
Yeah.
This problem is circle.
Your final answer on number 7 is going to have some number, some pi, and some x.
Yes.
Yes. All right, so let's go over this. So they're asking us to find the circumference given the area. So we have to worry about the area first and then move on to the circumference. So for the area piece, the area of a circle is pi r what? Squared. We know the area is this ugly piece. So put that ugly piece on the A. 25x squared pi is equal to pi r squared. What is on the left and the right that I can eliminate? The pi, so that goes away. So I'm going to write the r first. R squared is 25x squared. And we want to square root on both sides. Now, when I square root, the r is going to be 5 what? 5x. So our second thing is our circumference. You can use pi d if you want. I'm used to 2 pi r. So we know 2 pi of the r, which is 5x. And the whole numbers can be combined by multiplying. So we get 10 pi x. If you want to say 10x pi, doesn't matter. And that's going to be in feet.